One by one. Attention, delay group. Approximately 9 aircraft. Desktop. Here. 4. Joining A. 30. Stop. 2 minutes to 4.
Oh, that was a mistake. Violent on the rudder there. Right, he's not making it home. Should focus to one of the others here. How am I holding up? Am I leaking anything? Doesn't look like it. Still got to adjust my rudder pedals a bit. They're a bit too sensitive. What I'd actually like to be able to do is adjust the spring tension, but I don't think I can do that with these, unfortunately. Doing what the Germans usually did when they met some actual opposition. They just jettisoned their bombs and turned for home. But the less German bombers make it back to their air bases, the less they'll be able to send across the channel. So we'll see if we can just knock one of those down with the last few rounds of our machine guns. If I can avoid flying my Spitfire into the channel. I'm so... because I haven't really played many flight sims since I since I stopped using my old force feedback stick, which I had like a long time ago. When the motors in that finally burnt out, I got an X52, which was a good stick while it worked. The problem being that without the force feedback, you're really missing a huge amount of the like sort of aircraft pilot interface. You're not part of the aircraft like you are in a real plane. You can't feel what you're doing. So I didn't even realise it was possible for me to stall or spin a Spitfire until I got a non-force feedback joystick, because suddenly I could put the aircraft through things I physically did not have the arm strength to do before. Or, you know, if I did have the arm strength, it was like you could feel that the aircraft didn't want to do it, and you would be like, oh, okay, well, I won't push the matter. Right, well those two are fucked off, there's no point chasing them. This guy's still heading for England, so we will jump on him. Looks like there's another one hanging back as well. Just gotta watch my engine temps. We're running a little warm there, so I'll back off the RPM a bit. Bring it back to about 2650-ish. We don't need to be going full combat power. We're dealing with DO-17s, they're not exactly fast. Ah, I've got one gun with ammo still in it. Just keep half an eye on my airspeed, I don't want to get too slow. Pretty low here, so I haven't got much margin for error. If I do stall, I'm going to go in the drink. I should be okay. Let's try and get a big burst into this boy. Looks like our wingmen are out of ammo too, so... yeah, that was our last squirt. I'd say he's done. He's got his rudders cranked right over just to hold us steady, it looks like.
Yeah. I'm all out. Going in. 11 o'clock. Bearing 20. Delaying home taking mine. Vector 60. Good luck.
060. I'm heading south at the moment. I don't want to be doing that.
Stay on course.
A little more revs. Turn the gun sight off, we don't need that anymore. As I said, we are quite low. 30 feet off the ground. Or off the water, I should say. Aircraft down there. It looks like someone might have just gone in the drink. Okay, 060. We're about to come up on it. Now, unfortunately, this has the same problem, at least in quick missions, which, see, I tumbled my artificial horizon there, it'll sort itself out. This has the same problem that the older IL-2s had, which is obviously in a full mission where you're starting from cold on the ground, it's fine, but in quick missions, because you're on air spawns and you literally start right next to the enemy, you got to kind of frenziedly set up your trim as you get into position to get an attack in. And so I haven't even set my rudder trim, although I don't really need to at the moment. It looks like it's more or less okay. I kind of set my elevator trim on the fly. More or less on course, more or less straight and level. I'm very badly out of practice. I haven't actually logged any flight hours, like in real life, since February this year. Which is a damn shame. I was hoping to get out and do more flying, but it's just a case of between, you know, visiting friends and family and work and just general fucking lethargy from carrying people at work. Because, you know, like 3/4 of the team doesn't want to do their jobs. Yeah, I haven't really been able to get out and do anywhere near as much flying as I'd like to. But other than that, I also haven't done much flight simming because to plug all this shit in and get it set up, it's kind of a bit much effort for me most days. So I've still got some issues as well with my setup, like my I have a sneaking suspicion that, yeah, when I tumbled my gyros, I also tumbled my direction indicator. So I can see some white cliffs over there, that's what we're going to fly towards. Because I don't really feel like landing in Normandy. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, it takes quite a bit more effort than I would like to... Whoop, a bit heavy on the rudder there. To settle this up, so kind of a rare thing for me to do it, but I want to get back into this, get my eye in on the Spitfire again, maybe get into multiplayer on Cliffs of Dover, although I can't imagine there's... I know there's an active community, I just can't imagine there's many people active at the times I'm able to play it. And a lot of the people that will play it are very experienced flight simmers, so it's going to be another case of, you know, as soon as you're off the ground, you're instantly at their mercy. Like, I used to enjoy IL-2 multiplayer, it was just very difficult to get into, because there were so many very, very experienced pilots in it. Going alright for temps, fuel's good, revs are sitting about where they should be, maybe a touch on the low side, trim is okay, nothing is screaming at me, got a couple holes in the wings, but I think we're alright. They don't seem to have damaged any of our cables, so we should be fine. But yeah, I'd like to get into multiplayer in this at some point, maybe, I'm not sure if you can multi-crew bombers in this, I would assume you can. That would probably be fun. Multi-crewing bombers is always good fun. Just pile into one with a couple of mates, go on a bit of an aerial road trip, basically. But I also want to get into DCS. The only problem is that the MiG-21 is rather a bit more difficult to learn to fly than the Spitfire, especially because I've been flying Spitfires in simulators literally since I was 6 years old, so, you know, it's a bit of a difference there. But I have been able to get the MiG-21 off the ground. I've been able to put it on the ground a few times, although I think on every single occasion I managed to forget to drop my gear before doing so. So that was a bit of a whoopsie, but it's that. Don't tell me one of the DO-17s is still pushing the target. I've got nothing left to engage him with. I suppose I could always go for a Soviet-style ram attack, but I don't want to mess up my beautiful Spit. It's only one bomber, maybe the ACAC will deal with him. Now, I need to see what I can do about these clouds, because this pop-in is pretty fierce. Like, I've got the graphics settings turned up pretty high, you know, on account of my new video card. I have noticed when you cut loose on somebody close range with the 8 Brownings in this, just from the sheer number of particle effects coming off the enemy aircraft, it does chug a bit. But it's not too bad, but I do need to see why these clouds are popping in and out so much, because it's really noticeable and really quite obnoxious. Other than that, this game is beautiful, and consider this is a pretty old game. I mean, this came out, I want to say like 2010, 11, somewhere in there. Like, it is not a new game. But it is quite a pretty one. Probably off course. Well, actually, that's probably wrong. I mean, it's telling me I'm heading south, but does that look like France to you? Because it doesn't look like France to me. I guess we'll soon find out. Let's see if they start shooting at us or not. Around with my trim a bit. We will see if we can spot Dover Castle, because that'll be a definite indicator we're in the right place. That looks like a chain home station. Yep, that is Dover Radar Station. Or, you know, wouldn't have been called radar back then, but that is the Dover chain home station. This will be the port of Dover, I would imagine. I just have a little look-see. It'll be around here somewhere. Actually, no. No, that might not be Dover. Might be a bit further west than I thought. Ventnor maybe? It's a chain home station, we're over England. That's all that matters. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't gone the wrong way. So, yeah, I managed to tumble my gyros during that little scrap. My artificial horizons sorted itself out, but my direction indicator still hasn't. Oh, look at that. A lovely little airfield just for us. And I'd get in trouble off the CO for that, but I don't really care. Get back a bit. I'll come in over the water. So bring her right back. Trying to remember what's clickable and what's not in this. I don't think I can tell these guys to go home, unfortunately. So they're probably going to crash into the ground around me. The AI is not exactly smart in this game, unfortunately. Mission failed, what? I guess one got through. Hey, we pop here.
Commander, much closer. Hard.
Don't want to get too slow. Not with that bloody great cliff in front of me. Pop flaps. We're kind of coming in a bit fast. And really cockeyed because I cannot line up the ship. Over the hedge at 80. Actually, we're doing about 100, but, you know, minor details. Wear her out. Hold her off, hold her off, hold her off. Bit of a bounce. On the runway. Whoop, that was a bit heavy. And here come my wingmen. Now hopefully these boys figure out that they're supposed to actually land instead of kill themselves. Once I get her on the ground, I kind of go into a bit of pilot-induced oscillation on the rudder. I need to get the hang of not doing that. But I'm going to pull her off the runway. Finally figured out why my brake bindings were stuffed up. It turns out my pinky switch on my stick isn't actually like it was bound under axes, but it's not an axis, it's a button. I wish it was an axis, so I'd have actually, you know, incremental braking, but that's alright, that's what the toe brakes are for, I suppose. I might as well taxi over to the hangars. And overheat the shit out of the engine, because the Merlin does not like being run on the ground. Unfortunately, I can't really pop my head out. Whoop, 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 whoop. Don't want to collapse the gear. For the record, I taxi like a drunk, even in a modern nose wheel aircraft, so me in a tail wheel is a bit of a train wreck waiting to happen. Okay, overcorrecting. There's my sweet spot, right about there. Touch more right rudder, touch more right rudder, a bit more power. Don't want to get it too quick. Not sure what my wingmen are up to at this point, probably flying themselves into ground behind me. But we will we'll worry about them later. I just want to get this bird over to the hangars. Now, as you can see, the nose blocks basically my entire forward view. Standard practice was to have the hatch there half open and kind of lean out the side, and usually, more so when you were taxiing for takeoff in you know, not under stress, not being bombed or scrambling, you would have a ground crewman sitting on the wing to navigate for you. And when you run these babies up on the ground to do your engine run up, you have the ground crewman all holding the tail down, so it doesn't do a nose stand. The Merlin is a hell of a powerful engine, and the Spitfire is not a very heavy aircraft, at least not the early war ones, certainly. Okay, so I don't know how detailed the excuse me, how detailed the collision geometry on these hangars is. I'm not going to risk finding out. I'm just going to throttle it back. A bit of rudder, toe brake, if it's going to register that toe brake. Maybe not. Okay, no, it does. I've got to be pulling the main brake to get the toe brakes to work, it seems. Right, that'll do. And as ever, the ground physics in this game, like you can see it, my aircraft is still trying to, mind you, I am over an idle cutoff. There we go. The aircraft still tries to like slide around on the ground. I don't know what it is about Cliffs of Dover, but the physics once you are on the ground get really wonky really fast. Now, to actually stop the engine, that's your cutoff. It's your cutoff there. But the other quick way to do it is just yoink. Turn that off. Turn those off. That's on. And I think none of the other actual system switches that we would normally be turning off at this point are clickable in this game. So there we go. Birds all parked up, ready to go to bed. And you can actually see they've animated the pitch on the prop blades, which is sweet. Pretty sweet indeed. This is, of course, a Mark 1A. The Mark 1 would have a two-position rotol propeller. Although I read that pilots found the it was like a plunger type control for it down under the throttle quadrant, basically, where the actual constant speed unit control is in the Mark 1A. And so you had this kind of push-pull thing going on down here, and some of the pilots found it could be put in like a halfway position between fully coarse and fully fine, and so you did have some degree of fine adjustment over the prop, but the constant speed props are much, much easier to use. And a moron like me that doesn't understand the mechanics of it can use it a lot easier because it basically takes care of itself. The only problem is if something damages the constant speed unit and the prop runs away on you, in which case your engine will blow itself up. Because, as it happens, Merlins do not like running at 6,000 RPM. Who would have thought? So yeah, that's a little bit of a bomber intercept there, just to kind of get my eye in, get used to flying this thing again, show the game off a bit, since every other time I tried to stream this, except earlier today, it wouldn't show. I found the secret is I have to have the game window up and running and then tab out to start OBS. If I've already started OBS, it will only show the in-game menus and briefing screens, which is really annoying. Oh, and I have to use a display capture scene instead of a game capture. So it's just set to display capture. OBS is launched after this is up and running, full screened in the simulation, and then it usually behaves itself. So just a bit of a quick tip out there for anyone else that's been having trouble trying to stream this game because OBS won't recognize the right window. You've just got to basically get it to start up afterwards. Anyway, Looks like the wonky physics have stopped. My spit is happily at rest on the ground. I have no idea still where my wingmen are or what they are doing. As I said, they tend to fly themselves into the ground when you land, because unlike in Isle 246, which is what I'm used to playing, there doesn't seem to be a radio command to tell them to return to base or land or fuck off. So you're basically stuck with a bunch of, lovesick puppies following you until you land, at which point they decide to acquaint themselves with the ground. I can't actually tell exactly where we are because I wasn't paying much attention. I have to be honest, but I know we're next to a chain home station, and there's white cliffs. I don't actually think we're around Dover. I thought we were originally, but this definitely isn't around Dover. I would have noticed. Like, I spent enough time there as a kid that I can recognize Dover from the air easily. Yeah, I think we are somewhere in the Isle of Wight, maybe? If this actually showed chain home stations, it'd be easy to figure out where I am. Whatever. We made it home. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. So I'm going to end the mission, and we'll see what I scored. And I'm not actually sure if OBS will pick up the briefing window now, given the earlier issues. Hey, flying time, 26 minutes, 50 seconds. Obviously, a fair bit of that spent on the ground talking afterwards. Player status okay. 2,379 rounds fired. 22% hit rate. Oh, I shot down 3. So 3 of those Dorniers went into the drink entirely off my own damage. A 4th Dornier went into the drink with a quarter share for me. Another flew home damaged, which was all from me. And yeah, there we go, friendly losses. 90111, one of our Spitfires, so he probably got shot down. 90415, he probably got shot down or went into the drink. And then we've got 91636 and 91638, so the 2 remaining Spits flew themselves into the ground. Actually, no. No, because all 4 of them were in formation with us, weren't they? I don't know. But either way, all 4 of our genius AI friendlies managed to get themselves killed, as tends to be the case in this game. So I might do another. I might go after some Stukas at Hawkinge, and I might do it in a Hurricane, since I don't fly the Hurricane as often as the Spit. Have it through here. I want to... Okay, Rotol is the constant speed prop. And I want to be running with the 100 octane fuel, because that,